what you love. Live it, share it, you know it's what you're dreaming of. What we love, what we do makes a difference in me.
Hi everyone, it's Pauline from Stamp with Pauline, Stampin' Stampede, and today I'm going to show you a technique. It's a floating technique. I saw it on YouTube by Natasha Fort and I thought I'd give it a go. There's a few little things that you will need to be aware of, and I'll go through those as I show you how to do this. So I've started with a piece of acetate, and I have, the size doesn't matter about the acetate at the moment because I will be trimming it, or you can actually create a shape to it. So this one is a card that I have done, and I made it into a circle like she had done on her YouTube. So what you're going to do is start with a piece of acetate and lay down strips of cardstock. What I've got here is 1/2 centimeter wide cardstock, and the length doesn't really matter because you are going to trim it. You're going to need to leave this for a fairly long time to dry. I did find that if you actually try to cut it before you're ready, you will actually move the cardstock and it won't be able to go through. So what I'm going to do is actually just trim off the excess cardstock, and I'm cutting through just a little bit of the acetate as well, and that's so that it's a bit easier to actually take away all of that. If you don't want to do that, you can actually use scissors, but it does then alleviate getting any glue on your scissors as well. So just makes it a little bit easier to try and get rid of the excess cardstock. Okay, what you then need to do is also make sure to cover most of the acetate. Don't leave too much of a gap between each of them either, because you do actually want to create the image. So you can then go and cut out whatever shape you would like. The only thing you will need to be aware of is making sure that when you have your shape on here, I won't be able to actually put a mini glue dot here or a piece of mounting the foam strip, because you need to, we're going to put the foam strip behind this part here of the cardstock. So I'll grab the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And again, this is another reason why you need to let it dry, because otherwise you're going to get glue all over your cutting plates as well, because it will actually smush out. So the shape I'm actually going to cut out is the butterfly, and I'm using Positive Thoughts. So I have actually cut the fern leaf out of it for that card, but I'm now going to cut out a butterfly for this one, and I'm just going to actually turn him on a slight little angle. Grab my other cutting mat, and sorry, the camera might shake a little bit here, so let me just roll that through. And then I'm just going to go back because I just want to make sure that we get it all right. Okay, so once you've cut it out, you will need to go back and forth a couple of times because the acetate's got to be cut as well as the cardstock, so it does get a little bit tricky. So just keep watching that, because you may have to go a couple of times through your machine just to get through that acetate. And like I said, you need to be careful that it is dry completely, because that glue is going to smush out. So just always have handy a piece of either a piece of paper towel, maybe with some tea tree on it, or a tissue, but I just like to have a little baby wipe just sitting there. So I've now got this little butterfly. I could probably try and use that on another card. What you then want to do while you've got the machine out is actually cut an additional layer, a butterfly for the insert part. So grabbing our foam strip, turn it over, and using the back side of the cardstock, that's actually where I'm attaching my foam strip. So I'm going to take the foam strip, and I've got a little piece there, so that actually will fit nicely onto there. Alrighty, so we're going to just go along here and just cut that off. And then I might leave that next piece and just do the next one. So you don't have to do every single piece of cardstock. Just make sure that we're leaving enough room. Okay, so just, oops, pop that up there, cut that, and I'll do this one. I'll just use a bit down here, and I've got another bit just here that I'll just put onto there. All right, so now what we do is we peel off the back of the foam strip. Okay, then attach this to my Whisper White base card. It could be any color you like. It doesn't have to be, pardon me, it doesn't have to be Whisper White. I've just got that. And then gluing down, making sure my butterfly is the right way. Just going to add a little bit of some Tombow. Slide that in to the cavity so it's actually flush on the card itself. So you actually get this illusion that it is raised up onto there. And then I am also going to just add some words to it. So I'll just grab a piece of mounting foam, and I've just stamped from Itty Bitty Birthdays a birthday greeting. Pop that onto there, and I'm just going to stick that down onto there. All right, so something really quite simple to do for that, but if you want to, you can cut shapes. So you've got a couple of options with this one. Is you can actually already start off with an acetate circle, which I did actually find easier to do than gluing down all the bits and then cutting out this part. Just with the machine, I think the extra layer makes it a little bit tricky. So that's something, if you're going to make a shape, I personally would cut out the shape before you stick all the cardstock. Again, with the circle or a shape that you're doing, you will need to be careful of one thing, and that is don't have your cardstock sort of finishing where your die is going to cut through it. You'll see on this one, I'm going to lift it up and show you. So I have got a circle, I've added my cardstock, I cut out the fern from the stamp set. Then when I actually cut it out, what's happened is, because there's no cardstock meeting down at the end of the circle and here, it does actually lift up. So I will show you that. I haven't actually stuck it down on purpose so you can see. So you end up with getting like a little bit that won't be able to be stuck down, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a piece of mounting foam, foam strip, dimensionals, like, yeah, that's really, really tiny. So it's just something to be aware of. Watch the shape and watch where you're putting your die, because it could actually run into this sort of an issue. Maybe if I'd brought it up a little bit, but then this fern has all of this section here. So just something to be aware of when you're actually making this floating technique. Watch the dies with the shape. So, all right, well, I hope you like that, and we're going to come back and I'll actually make I'll make a little card using this butterfly on another floating technique. I think that will actually be quite nice, little raised up or something. I don't know. Anyway, hope you like that. See ya.
So just do what you love. Live it,